Alright guys, welcome back. We have a new season and a new pack has just released. You know what that means. I will show you my top 5 decks that you can use for this month to climb to Master 1, the 5 strongest decks I think that we have in the current Master Duel meta. So let's go. My number 5 is currently Purely. The thing I have to say is that I have not played this deck since the banning or the limitation, the semi-limitation of Purely Delicious Memory, which is because I play this deck in the TCG a lot, so I'm definitely taking a break from this when I play in Master Duel. That's the thing. I think this deck is really strong still. If you can make an X Purely Noir, it's really hard to out. Not a lot of decks are running outs to that. But the fact that you have like 33% chance of not getting this, because the basic thing you want to do is go Black Cat, go My Friend Pearly, reveal normally Triple Delicious Memory, but we have only 2 now. So you will reveal a Delicious, and a Pretty to have the negate if this thing doesn't work. So you have a 33% chance of having a really bad first turn, and I think that's not a dice roll you want to make. Also, I just realized this because I have not changed the list. Also, we have lost a normal Purely, which obviously makes the entire turn a bit weaker, though you would need to have a very good hand in order to summon 3 white cats and a black cat. So that might not be that impactful. I would think we would go for more traps in this place here. So an addition of a trap, maybe we would even go for 3 traps. No, not another TTT, another trap. So we can hard draw the trap. Then if you, for example, end up with your Pretty Memory, then it's fine, because then you can, if you hard draw the trap, can just use the trap and and still get an X Purely Noir. Also, the addition of the traps makes the Purely more consistent. I think I would play something like this. The other reason is that an additional trap gives you the ability to shuffle back your Purelis, which you will need now more than ever because you have less of them. But all in all, this is still a really good deck, still really strong. If you can end up on the X Purely Noir, it's amazing. Not a lot of opponents will be able to break this, and you still have your really strong going second kill turn with your Purely Happy Memory and your Happiness, which is still amazing. I would consider running a lot of hand traps like Triple Ash, Triple Maxi, Triple Droll. You could also skip some of the Dark World stuff for Nibiru's, which is also really nice at the moment. This deck can fit in a lot of going second cards, board breakers like the Fenrir, the Triple Tactics, but also hand traps like you see here. So really, really solid. And still a really good deck to play, and will even be better in the future when we then get the little black cat that we are missing, and then we once again have the opportunity to go My Friend Purely, reveal 3 Sleepy Memory, and then this deck once again is insane. But this is for the future, and we don't have it right now. Alright, my personal number 4 for this season is Mavmec. I had this higher up last season, but I think the deck has changed a bit, and also other decks have gotten new support, which is really strong. So this is still one of the strongest decks, even though we have the Diameter at 1 and also the Silent Mining at 2. The Diameter at 1 isn't really that impactful. The Silent Mining at 2 is impactful, but not that much. It just means you basically have 1 less Mavmec Circular, if you want to look at it that way. Though obviously you hard drawing a Mavmec Circular is still better than Silent Mining, because Silent Mining can get ashed, and Silent Mining also the circle can also get ashed by the way, but the Silent Mining will also cost you a hand card to discard, so obviously having just a circular is better. But this deck is still basically the same, still super strong, and definitely a deck that you will have quite an easy time on the ladder with to reach Master 1. This deck has strong going first with the Super Factorial. Also, it's going second kill turn with the Access Code Talker together with the Update Jammer, which you only need 3 Mavmecs for. If you are wondering how that works, then you only need 3 Mavmec bodies, and if you can get 3 Mavmec bodies on the field, then you can get an Access Code Talker with double attack. Otherwise you can't, you will need 3, but normally a Mavmec Circular in hand or a Mavmec Diameter in hand with 1 Mavmec Engrave. So this one does not even need a Mavmec Engrave, but if you have the Diameter, you need 1 Mavmec Engrave. This is enough to basically kill your opponent with an Access Code Talker, which is insane. You can run a lot of hand traps, as you can see right here. You have nice extenders with the Parallax Seeds. It's really cool. cool. You can search via your small worlds, your Thunder King, the Lightning Strike Kaiju, which you can use. So you have an inbuilt out to Expurli Noir that you can quite easily reach. You obviously need one of your small worlds to be drawn, but then you can get to the Light Kaiju with nearly everything in your deck. So really insane, still one of the best decks ever. You could also swap out some Drolls or the Nibiru for more infinite impermanences. What I have done is minus the Diameter, minus the Signet Mining. I have just put in hand traps like Drawing Lockbird and Nibiru because I think they are quite nice at the moment. You could also opt for more consistency, though I am thinking about how you would do that. You could put in a Pot of Desires, I guess, though it's a bit dangerous in banishing the Super Factorial. The thing is that I think this deck has enough consistency to put out consistency pieces like the Signet Mining and just put in hand traps. So I think this still works. Really strong deck, really easy climb for you if you want to take it to the ladder. My number 3 is Branded Toxic. It's only called so because we can once again use the Gimmick Puppet Lock. This is the version I've copied from Galzo, where you are able to, I think it's with Cartesia and Quem, or it's with Cartesia and the Branded Fusion, but you are able to get into your Albion the Sanctified Dragon quite easily, then make a Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. You also have this new amazing card, which is basically an Omni Negate, if you want to call it. No, okay, not really. It's a Field Omni Negate, where you can negate all your opponents, but unfortunately also your cards. You can negate them, but you will have to target one fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Alba. So if you have a Mirror Jade or Albion the Sanctified Dragon, you will target these, and these are the only cards that will not be affected by this. But this is definitely something that Branded was in dire need of, like a good counter card, a good counter trap, if you want to call it that, because negates were always a problem. You obviously can also get to your Tribad Mercuria, which is a monster negate. You have your Quem now, which is amazing, enables you to directly go into your Mirror Jade when the opponent summons anything from the extra deck, which is really, really insane if you have an Albas in the grave, which you can dump with the Guiding Quem if you don't want to dump your Cartesia, which is also a nice target. But yeah, this deck is really strong. It was strong all the time, and it definitely is on a new power level. And now we also have the Discipline Lulua Lilith, which not that important, but can come up at some points or at some time. One cool thing that I also want to mention here is that if you are facing a lot of Dragon Link players, then you could definitely go and put in an Alba Lenatus, which this guy, which can basically single-handedly out a Dragon Link board. You have to just summon an Albas, which you have 3 of, and you also have 3 fusion deployments getting you to an Albas. And then you can just go Alba Lenatus and Contact Fusion away all the dragons, which if you are playing in tournaments, I would suggest you get a one branded list ready that you can use if you reach top cuts. Then you can use the branded list to so you take this as a going second branded list, and if you know that you're playing against Dragon Link, he's going first, and you put in Drone and Lockbirds here. You put out stuff like the Gimmick Puppet, for example, then you don't need it. You can put out the Counter Trap, and then you would put in the Alba Lenatus, and so you can break the Dragon Link's board pretty easily. But yeah, Branded Toxic or Branded Despia with the new Toxic variant, or without it, is my pick for number 3. And speaking of Dragon Link, this is the next deck that I will also place in the 3rd category. So I think Dragon Link and Branded Despia share the 3rd place category. This deck has newly acquired the Bestial Desparta. I will still have to take something out for this. Now looking at the list, I'm not quite sure what this will be. I guess the Azalea. So you want to keep your Underworld Goddess just for Expurli Noir. That is for sure. And yeah, we have the Dragon Link Bestial deck, which is just an amazing deck. At the moment, I think you can definitely get away with running more Bestials. There are, once again, more targets. Manadium has a lot of targets. If people are playing more branded, there are more targets. And if there is less Kashtira, if that should be the case, then this is also better, because this obviously has no targets against Kashtira. And I have to say that at the moment, I am not seeing a lot of Kashtira decks on the ladder. So yeah, this can also work against Vanquish, so because you can banish their Heavy Borger or their Link 1 monster, though banishing the Link 1 monster is not that effective. But yeah, it's Dragon Link, it's insane. I always hate playing against this deck in every tournament that I reached the top cut in, and this is really not an exaggeration. In every tournament I reached the top cut, Dragon Link kicked me out of the tournament. Obviously, this was also because I was using MavMech a lot, and them having a lot of Bestials is really bad for MavMech, obviously, but this also kicked me out when I was playing other decks. It's just an insane deck that can at least it feels like it can play through every hand trap that you throw at it. By the way, don't copy this exact list. This is definitely not perfect and not a super adjusted list for the current meta. If you want an actual list, like a current list, then go to Master Duel Meta and check out the lists that have, for example, top recent tournaments. I like to keep the deck on the 40 side. I know that there are people playing it on a 60 side with grass. It's just not my place that I don't really like it. So I'm staying with the 40 list here. But yeah, Dragon Link, amazing deck. The only card that's really bad for this is Duel Knockbird, but though we have more Droll and Knockbirds in main decks, I think the usage is 30%, which is quite a lot. This is a problem, so if this comes up for you, you might start running one Droll, one Cross Out, and 2 Cold Buys to negate that a bit, but you will have to see. This is still an amazing deck, and you will have a pretty fun and easy climb if you take this to the ladder. The only thing is that the Dragon Link combo takes a long time, so this will take a bit of time, but you will win a lot of games. This is a very strong deck. Here's my personal number 2, and is Vanquish, so don't be confused by this specific list. I've just copied this because I wanted to try it. This, as you can see, has this topped in Decade Meter Weekly, was the second best deck, was place number 2. And as you can see, it runs a bit of Kashtira cards in here. Obviously, you're always running the Fenrir, but this also goes triple Unicorn, and then 1 Birth and 1 Theosis. But this also plays with Super Polies and Super Poly targets. This is also why I wanted to try this. I think the idea is quite clever because you have extra deck slots available, so you can definitely fit in the Super Poly targets in here, and Super Poly is just a strong board breaker, especially if Branded is running around. And what I have seen or was played in the tournament, the Decades tournament, this is also a cool alternative. You can use the newly unbanned card. I think this was banned before, the Zodiac Barrage. You can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon 1 Zodiac monster from your deck. So you can, this is a continuous spell trap, spell card. You can play this card, then you can destroy this card, and you are running 3 of this and 1 Ram, and then you are summoning a Ram, and then you can, in your extra deck, I think you go Trident, this one. I think these 3, but might also be the case that there is not also Tiger Mortar, but I think these 3, because then you can use Ram, and just with this 1 card combo, Barrage and Ram, you can then go make a Chakanine, make Borbo, and then make a Trident. So with 1 card, not using your normal summon, by the way, because this is a special summon, with 1 card you are able to get to a Trident, which Trident has a quick effect, destroy 1 card on the field. So that's quite nice. So if you have this package, then you can definitely play it also, but it's obviously very expensive. But all in all, Vanquish Soul, super strong deck, super flexible, really good if it gets its main game plan with the Raisin going. Can also brick quite hard, so keep that in mind. You definitely, if you put these in, don't want to go like a 46 or something, because you really want to see a Raisin or be able to go to your Raisin, to come to your Raisin with Stake Soul or the Durandal, or maybe also a Small World. But if this deck starts to roll its game plan out, and if it can generate a bit of advantage over maybe 1 or 2 turns, then it's just game. It's insane how strong this deck can be. Also, it can play Shifter, which is always nice and good in most metas. Also in the current meta, I would say, of course, there is still Kashtira running around, which this card does nothing against, but that's basically everything that this card is bad against. So yeah, quite nice, really strong deck, really flexible, really fun to play. Unfortunately, a bit expensive, but this seems to be the thing that Konami does, at least recently. Vanadium also really expensive, and unfortunately, little spoiler here, Vanadium is not my top 1 deck. And I think if you think a bit about what decks are in the meta right now, you might already know which one is left and should probably also be on the list, though you also could think of some other deck. I think you will be a bit surprised as to my number 1, and a lot of people might disagree with me having this at number 1. Let me know in the comments what you think. But yeah, Vanquish Soul, my number 2, and really strong deck. And here's my personal number 1, my going first deck, which is Kashtira. I think that Kashtira at the moment is the best deck, at least I perform the best with it, so that's why I think it's the best. I think it's really strong. The engine is amazing. Obviously, if you don't have access to your XYZ extra deck, that's not a problem. The cards like Fenrir, Unicorn can destroy entire decks by themselves. You have Fenrir by banishing stuff, Unicorn by ripping stuff from the extra deck, the core pieces. This is really amazing. Yeah, Kashtira, you have the Birth, which is able to get you back resources over and over again, banish stuff from your opponent's graveyard, banish stuff from the deck of your opponent. And then you have your boss monster, the Kashtira Arisard, which is also able to banish a lot of stuff. And at the moment, people are not playing that much board breaker, so this deck is definitely better off, I would say. Yeah, super strong. I would still consider not activating Kashtira Shangri-Ivor on your opponent's standby phase to summon something, because people are obviously playing Fenris because they are just good, and there are a lot of people putting in one Kashtira Arisard. I, for example, have also one Kashtira Arisard in my Vanquish Soul deck, because if my opponent activates his Shangri-Ivor, I can then get my free Kashtira Arisard, and the Kashtira Arisard can go into a Zeus and clear the entire board without activating an effect. So you definitely want to be a bit careful with your Shangri-Ivor activations. But other than that, this deck is insane. It has Shifter, it can play Shifter. The fact alone that this deck can play Shifter is one of the reasons why it is still good in the, or good, but is still played in the TCG, even after the TCG has completely banned Arisard and other stuff. So just an insane deck. It can brick sometimes, though in my personal experience, I don't brick very often with it. Having the planet at 2 or 3 would obviously be amazing, but the Planet Pathfinder does its job, and you can basically, with nearly every Kashtira, start monster and one of the cards. Some of them not even need one of the cards, but you can get a board, you can go and get playing, and then if you are not lucky, then you might have your pots available that search you something. I sometimes get very unlucky Pot of Desires banishing to Fenris, which is a bit sad, but other than that, amazing. You don't need to play the Ogre Preparations package. I like the package. I would also not be sad if I would put it out, to be honest. This is better for grind gamey games in which you have to get your resources back over multiple turns. But other than that, Kashtira, my personal #1, a strong deck, really consistent in my opinion, really strong against nearly every deck that you can face. So I think Kashtira will give you the best and easiest chance and way to get Master 1 this season. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think of my list. I think that Kashtira might be a bit controversial. I think it's not really controversial having Kashtira in the top 5, but having this at a #1 might some people disagree on this. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you like my kind of videos, please consider subscribe, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, and we will see each other in the next one.